What do you do when your investments are down? From time to time we go through periods where markets are volatile and subsequently your own investments will probably fall in line with this. It can be an alarming and worrying time for investors, but the question is, what should you do? Well, let's look at what history tells us. If you look at this slide, this shows events which have happened over the past few decades and how they affect the markets. The most significant one in recent times was the 08-09 crash, where markets dropped significantly. However, if you look closer, the markets were back at their original positions a short period after. If we look at this next slide, and if you look at the general direction of the market, as you can see, the trend is upwards over the long term. A famous saying in our industry is this: it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. Meaning that you should stay invested even when the markets fall. It's common to see headlines like billions wiped off the stock market or global stock markets plunge, causing investors to panic. Of course, when we look deeper, it's the media's job to create hysteria and sensationalism. We never hear about billions being added to the market or millions of people profiting. Remember, these headlines are created to drive hits, clicks and advertising revenue, so we must ignore this noise. We as human beings are terrible investors, and it's been proven many times, primarily because we make investment decisions based on our emotions rather than logic. There is something we call the emotional cycle investors, and it looks like this. When things are going well with our investments, we feel enthusiasm, exuberance, and sometimes if things have been going really well, euphoria. As you can see, when markets start to drop, our emotions change and it can turn to fear, desperation, panic, and this is where we see most investors making mistakes by withdrawing their assets. So to answer the original question, what do you do when your investments fall? Depending on your time frame, it's probably nothing. Could the value of your investment go down further? Yes, possibly. Is there more volatility ahead? Possibly. But this is just part of investing. I know it's easy for me to say this, but my advice is to sit tight, don't panic, and stick to the long-term plan. Always think long-term and try to ignore the noise.